Hey, what's going on guys? It's Tom Mason here, back with another video, and today I want to talk to you all about this, the Nikon 400mm 4.5 S-Line Prime. Now, for many of you who are into wildlife photography, you will certainly be looking with great interest on all the new lenses that are coming out. I certainly have been, and I've also been very grateful to have the chance to test a few of them out. So I wanted to share a little bit of my insight and my use over the last couple of months with these different lenses to give you some impressions about what might assist you in picking things up in the future. Now the 400mm 4.5 is certainly one that caught my attention. It's this kind of really nice mix between a lightweight, small, compact lens, yet still has that prime performance and quality at a price that is certainly more reachable than lenses like the 600mm or anything like that. Now this lens, I think for many people is going to be a great choice for wildlife photography, but yeah, today I just wanted to talk about it and share some of my experiences about using it out in the field. So let's get started with the specs. So as I said, it's a 400mm f4.5, so nice bright aperture. It is a weather sealed body with a fantastic array of features on the outside. You've got multiple lens function rings, function ring here, function buttons. You've got the focus ring here. You've got memory set, tripod foot, as well as autofocus, manual focus, and a focus limiter that is really great to have. On the top here, really nice, good quality plastic hood with a lock that is very great for the fact that you can't knock it off or anything like that. Nice rubber seal around the end. That means if you bang it on anything, it's kind of protected, gives it a little bit of bounce. But overall, it has a really good feel to it. It's kind of a polycarbonate design with a little bit of metal on it, but that really helps it maintain its lightweight nature. This lens only weighs 1.2 kilos. That is absolutely brilliant for this style of lens and makes it the sort of lens that you can just take with you on any day to go make some pictures. Maybe it becomes a kind of daily driver, just walking around, hiking, you can use this. It's something that isn't going to burden you down significantly like some of the larger telephoto lenses are, meaning that, you know, if you're not specifically going out for wildlife photography, you know, going on a dog walk, whatever, you can bring this along and still have the opportunity to make some pictures. Yet when you get them, the quality really is there. So some of the other real kind of like flagship specs I would talk about is the fact that it's got a close focus of 2.5 meters, something that is very nice for a 400mm lens, means you get very close to your subjects, working close for that kind of higher magnification. That's really nice. If you're working with small subjects, I'm thinking small birds, maybe smaller mammals as well, it just gives you more flexibility to work with them out in the field. You know, sometimes, a lot of the time we're talking about wildlife photography, like trying to get extra reach because our subjects are further away. Well, sometimes they actually come a bit too close, and with the long and large telephoto lenses, it could be a bit of an issue trying to get it further back to get the shot, but this will certainly work very well for that. Compatible with the teleconverters, the 1.4 or the 2 times, giving you a 560 or a 800mm. Obviously, you're going to drop down to like 6.3 and f11, f9. Again, totally usable on something like a Z9 or Z7 II, Z6 II, but obviously not as fast as the top of the line spec lenses, but of course, it's totally not in that price bracket. Now let's talk use case and when I've been using it. You know, in terms of its abilities in the field, it's really great. Because it's so lightweight and easy to work with, it's the sort of lens that lends itself more to stalking work, or when you're moving quite a lot. You know, you're not going to need a tripod or a monopod most of the time with this lens unless you're trying to do like slow shutter speeds or anything like that. You can hand hold it with ease. You can see, like, you know, it's just not heavy at all in my hand. That makes it great for if you're like crawling on your front, trying to get close to birds. I was doing a lot of this on the shore up in Norfolk, and it performed really, really well. You know, that ability to just move quickly is something that's really nice to have, and it's certainly something that's a bit different from using the 600 that I have been over the last couple of weeks. It was really nice to pick this up again to do this little video. Now, the focus speed is very, very good. I think something that I've come to know with the S-Line and Z lenses is we really are getting improvements across the board. Focus speed, very, very quick and accurate on a range of subjects, be it foxes in a graveyard or to seals on the beach, small birds running up and down. No problems with the speed of the focus to lock them and get them in. I think a lot of that is down to our camera bodies now as much as it is our lenses, but obviously the motors in this are very quick and reliable. That is very nice to see, and just basically silent. That is great. You know, just less sound than ever, meaning we're not going to disturb our subjects when we're near a, you know, that vital moment when the bird just lands there and your older lenses you just go choo-choo. You're not going to get this with this. It's very quiet and subtle. That's really nice to use in the field. Of course, when it comes to focus, you do have the focus buttons on the side, excellent for programming for maybe a different focus mode, and of course using with a memory set, something that was only found on the really top end primes of, you know, in the past. Super handy if you're working in a hide, you've got a location that you're like, yeah, I want to get focus on that because I know my subject's going to come back to it. You can use it for that and then just press the button, bang, nailed it, get the shot. Another way that I do like to use it is to put it at literally like the minimum close focus that I've got on the lens and then memory set to that. The reason that's handy, sometimes with wildlife photography, you're shooting something in the distance, something really close will pop up, and when you turn the lens and you're focused on kind of the background, pop it over here, the lens is just going to focus through it because it can see the background, it's going to lock onto that. By having the memory set function, you can basically override that in the camera, press that button and boom, you're back in, ready to nail it, even on a very close perch. That is super handy, racks the focus in front of where your subject is, and then you can get to it. That's going to nail it a lot more consistently. That is certainly very nice to have, and especially great on a lens of this kind of like price range and area. Now, of course, it is a prime lens. That means the optics and quality are just, you know, it's kind of dialed in to be perfect. I think that the image that comes out of this lens is very, very good. Actually, it's excellent. I think the quality of the frames when I look at them on the computer, even when I go in really close, images that come out of this lens are very, very nice. The backgrounds are extremely pleasing at f4.5, even up into the corners and everything like that. And actually, I was rather amazed at the isolation that you get from a 4.5 lens. I think when I first saw this lens announced, it was my only thing that was a little bit like, oh God, wish it was an f4. But of course, if it was an f4, it'd be a bit bigger, larger, less easy to carry around. And most of the time, you know, when I'm using my 300 2.8 with a 1.4 teleconverter, I am stopped down to 4.5 or f5.6 with my images, be that just to get better sharpness or of course just get more of your subject in focus. If you're working with small birds, small creatures, f4, you know, it just means you're not getting enough in focus to really get the look you want. So I actually don't think that f4.5 is an issue at all, and I really was enjoying the look that came out of this. Wide open shooting 4.5, backgrounds are creamy, smooth, everything like that, but the subject has a bit of a pop to it that's certainly nice. I have of course tested it across the range, stopping down to f8, f11. I actually worked up on the Snettisham high tide and was shooting like f22 and stuff like that to get some real mixtures of like all the movements of the birds. And it worked phenomenally well for that as well. I think the images that came out are really lovely and rich in colour. And you know, it's just that quality of the S-line Nikon lenses really is showing very well. And actually, as much as it pains me to say it, I love my 300 2.8. But when I use this with a 1.4 teleconverter to give me basically the same reach as this lens has, the image that comes out of this is certainly sharper than the one that comes out of this. You know, of course, the 300 2.8 gives you that 2.8 aperture for low light performance. But overall, in terms of the way I use it, in most cases, I'm using a 1.4 teleconverter or, you know, I am stopping down to f4, 4.5. So this lens certainly keeps up. And of course, its size and weight makes it extremely, extremely more just of a lens I would want to pick up and take all the time. Not only does it take up less space in the camera bag, you can use it in a smaller camera bag. I've had this in like a low pro 75 AW like zoom bag, and it fits into that perfectly with the Z9 attached. You can have a really small setup for wildlife photography that's very, very nice indeed. If you're hiking for a day, just less weight in the bag. You know, hiking with this, you know you can feel it. Certainly is something that you're not going to forget you've got with you, but this is so much easier to take out in the field for a full day of shooting. And if you're not specifically going somewhere for wildlife photography, but you think you're taking it just in case, this is far nicer to have than one of these, even though, of course, I really do love this lens and always will. I think where this lens sits then is, for those of you who are interested in investing in their wildlife photography, going up a stage from maybe a kind of the early zoom lenses, you want prime performance and quality, but you don't necessarily want to commit to something massive like the 600 or a 400 2.8. You know, of course, the optics in this lens are superior to this, but you know, you are paying for it in, you know, financial and just size and weight. You know, this is a big lens to take with you. As much as it's really lightweight and I can use it handheld, it certainly isn't as flexible as a lens like this, kind of day-to-day shooting for sure. I was really impressed with this working when I was laying on the ground, crawling around on the beaches, when I was, you know, working with foxes and the high tide. I just think as a kind of general all-purpose wildlife lens, it works really, really great, especially if you're someone who would rather have a prime lens for that just little bit extra quality in the image and that wider aperture for the certain look that you get from it. I think this certainly is one to go for. And if I was choosing between the 400mm and maybe the 100 to 400, I certainly think this would be my pick as an all-round wildlife lens that I can really rely on. I think this would be something I really want. And training yourself to work with a prime lens as a wildlife photographer is a really good thing to do. And I do think it elevates your ability to see pictures and develop your shooting out in the field. So it's certainly something to think about. You know, I can see this lens being perfect for safaris, for when you're working in small boats, anything like that, crawling around. And of course, if you're just on the dog walk but want to get some nice shots and just want to have a camera ready to make some pictures when you see wildlife out in the field, this is really, really nice. And the only reason I probably won't pick one of these up is because I already have the 300 2.8. And, you know, as much as this is lighter and smaller and everything like that, can I justify changing over, especially when I've got the 600 as well? Wow. Probably not. But if I was starting again, didn't have the 300 2.8 and had the 600, I think this would pair really nicely, and these two together would make a great wildlife photography kit. You've got something that's lightweight, small, easy to take with you all the time, and then the two together gives you the flexibility to just work in any situation at all. The image that comes out of it is beautiful, very pleasing, and just as a wildlife photography lens, you can't go wrong with this. So yeah, certainly highly recommended. The only negatives of it, I suppose the price for some people may be a little bit high and take it out of your budget, but in terms of actual practical negativities, doesn't have a gold ring, and I'd really like to see that. But other than that, I think this is a really solid lens by Nikon, and one that many people are going to enjoy very much for their wildlife photography or just telephoto shooting in general, sports photographers, anything like that. Really good quality optic that is going to work great out in the field. So there you have it, guys. There's my quick rundown on the 400mm 4.5. Hope you found that useful. If you've got any questions at all, be sure to drop them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. But of course, until the next one, guys, get out there, enjoy your wildlife photography, and I'll see you soon.